Hey, Liberty North AP Psych. Good morning. It is May 11th, Monday, and I am in my classroom. So teachers had to come up today, and we were able to, for the first time, get back in the building and get things. We're supposed to be wearing a mask, which I have my mask here. I just took it off so I could talk a little better. As you can tell, the room is a little bit clean. As I've been cleaning some stuff out, but just so you can see it for one last time. Get the pineapples. Kind of take it from the student point of view. Nothing written on the board except, hey, Davis, from Michaela. Desk is a little empty. Always remember Master Yoda, Kung Fu Panda. Sigmund Freud, obviously, the action figure. Bookshelves, working on that. Right, and then this is what I see. It's just weird seeing the chair's empty. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to go through the disorders chart. I'm going to do that by memory since I left my pad at home. So if you want to get out, again, you should have already turned in your psych disorder chart. Actually, you could have. It's not due till tomorrow. And you do not need this. This would just be if you're going to go on and probably take psychology, further psychology, major in psychology, you're going to do anything in medicine, or if you're going to take abnormal psych, this would be really good to know. So if you go back to the treatments on just the psych disorder chart, I'm just going to go down really quick and just kind of tell you what the treatments are. And then just remember, I need your AP notebook. I had over 150 emails from last Friday till this morning. So I'm working through those to get your grades in. And then today will be the last live stream for AP Psych. Seniors, juniors, we will pick up again on Wednesday. There won't be a live stream tomorrow because I'm just going to need to grade and get senior grades in. And then Wednesday, juniors, I'm going to give you your last project, which will be fun and enjoyable for the year as we kind of end out the year together. But seniors, if you get that stuff to me again by tomorrow, obviously that's great. I think senior grades, your grades have to be due and are finalized on May 13th at 11 or at noon. Okay. All right. So hope you guys are well. It's just kind of crazy. I did hear it sounded like on one of the announcements that there's going to be a senior parade up at Liberty North. So that'll be cool. I think at the end of this week. So that'll be cool. Hopefully staff, we get to be a part of that. That'd be great to see you guys just drive by. So if you want to go down real quick and I'll give you the key, actually, all of you should know this. And then I didn't know if you caught, I did turn something upside down. So I didn't know if you caught it the first time. When we end today, I'll go around. If you caught it, then you can just email me. But the good thing to remember is that if a disorder is neurotic, it's probably going to start with therapy. Again, remember our order: therapy, medication, and then you got stimulation or surgery on the biomedical side. That's generally the order. And then generally it stops at therapy and medication, which is such a huge advancement in medical technology and the healthcare profession. But that's a good rule of thumb. So anything that has a neurotic in there, which is why I put it in there, is generally going to start with therapy and then may have to go to medication. If it's psychotic, it's going to have to be medication involved, and then sometimes further. Okay, so we're going to have to use the antipsychotics. So if you go back down each one, so let's go down general, and it also then go back if it's biological or if it's environmental. If it's environmental and it's neurotic, it pretty much can be cured with therapy. And that obviously that procedure, that method that you use can kind of help people work through that, live with that disorder, still function at a high level, and just really still function well in society. If it's biological, obviously we're going to need to go to the biomedical side, right? And start with medication, but also include therapy in there as well. Again, we know through brain scans, and I should say this is only for anxiety and depression, which is the research that I've looked at. But we know the brain heals faster and the best with therapy and then medication. Okay. All right. So generalized anxiety disorder and panic disorder, both are biological and both need therapy and use therapy. So cognitive behavioral therapy is usually the big one. So you can break that out. It's in cognitive and behavioral, or CBT, which I gave you. And then you're going to use your medication, anti-anxiety, antidepressants, your tranquilizers. You're going to use those there as well. Okay. But since it is biological, they pretty much might have to be on medication for the rest of their life. Hopefully not, but generally that's the case. Well, I shouldn't say generally. In some of your more severe cases, that's what happens. Your phobic disorder is pretty much therapy. So it's behavioral therapy there and some cognitive therapy. But though that can be pretty much eliminated and cured with therapy. Now, again, not that you can't have medication there as well to help make the therapy more successful, but generally therapy can do it there. OCD is biological, so you're going to need some medication in there. Again, there's a lot of studies and research that link serotonin to obsessive and compulsiveness. So they're getting the antidepressants or the anti-anxiety medications. And then also any disorder that has a panic attack as a whole can use the tranquilizers that can help the nervous system not spark and help that sympathetic nervous system stay calm. And then post-traumatic stress disorder runs the gamut because obviously it is psychotic, so it needs medication. They can have the antipsychotic medications, anti-anxiety, antidepressant. There's group therapy, and then there's cognitive behavioral therapy, humanistic therapy there as well. So that kind of runs the gamut there. And I can't remember what we did next in order. If somebody has it, wants to chat it to me. I will go down. I'll go to mood disorders. So major depressive disorder is biological. You're going to need therapy with that because, again, a lot of depression is cognitive. It's our thoughts, humanistic therapy, and then medication as well on that side. And then sometimes with major depression, you can actually have the brain stimulation. So they'll put an implant in your chest and run. Thank you, Aiden. I'll go back. They'll run the electrodes into the brain on the vagus nerve, which is kind of towards the base of the brain in the hindbrain, and then they'll do that there. ECT also used to be used on major depressive disorder, not so much anymore since we have the brain stimulation. Oh, thank you, Delaney. Got the whole thing here. Okay, so I skipped. All right, so major depressive, you got therapy, you got medication, and then you got brain stimulation on that one as well. And then I'll do bipolar, and then we'll jump back. Sorry, bipolar disorder is medication. Again, that has a psychotic part to it. So mainly we're going to use those mood stabilizers, can use antipsychotics, can use antidepressants. But again, you got to be careful with the antidepressants because if I'm stimulating the depressed mood, but then they jump into the manic mood, I've just stimulated a manic, which is never a good thing to do. So that's where those mood stabilizers really come into play. And therapy does benefit. A lot of humanistic therapy, a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy as well with bipolar. Okay. All right. Dissociative amnesia and dissociative identity is really pretty simple on the therapy side. Not that the process is simple, but it's pretty much therapy. It's pretty much psychoanalytic therapy. So dissociative identity and dissociative amnesia, any dissociative disorder, It's the therapy that actually can cure them. Now it takes a long time to dig all that stuff up, but that's pretty much what brings them to the realization of what happened in the memory, and then allows the identities to stop, and the memory gaps to stop. Now, again, can I use anti-anxiety medication during the process? Yes, and it is actually very common that as they get closer and closer to remembering exactly what happened to them, it creates a little bit of anxiety, actually a lot of anxiety, and they can take the medication to help them through that, to kind of help the therapy be beneficial. But pretty much, it's just that psychoanalytic therapy, slowly, methodically, over years working through that stuff. Okay, then we have schizophrenia, which is going to be pretty much just medication at this point. That's where you're going to start. It is, again, if somebody is psychotic, it's very hard to work through therapy with them because they're not based in reality. So you got to get them stabilized on medication first. Okay, and then also with schizophrenia, you can go to brain stimulation. And then early on in psych history, they used to do psychosurgery on schizophrenia or any psychotic disorder, really. But we don't really have to do the probe anymore. I think the antipsychotic medications are great, for the best. And then we have the brain stimulation, especially with the transcranial magnetic stimulation, the TMS there is a growing benefit for those patients. So that's what I'd put there. And then personality disorders, I think, are next probably. Again, medication there. Again, psychotic. And again, it's, that one's, personality disorders are just really tough to treat. They kind of are in the same category as bipolar was before we developed mood stabilizers. I know people are hoping that we can develop medication specifically for personality disorders. And I know that there are companies working on that to better treat those. Now, you can use therapy there if they can grasp it. There's a lot of humanistic therapy there to try to get them to understand that they need people and things like that. But man, it's just, it can be really rough. And so the antipsychotic medication, I know mood stabilizers are used on personality disorders as well. So I'm not sure. I don't think any brain stimulation has been used, but we're just trying to get those people, get them out of their social dysfunctioning. I actually watched this weekend it was The Hunt for Ted Bundy, who was a serial killer, and watched that. That was really fascinating. I think they're doing a major serial killer each night on 1 week, and this was kind of the intro to it. Acting wasn't very good, but just it went through the historical part of that, and just his just lack of empathy and care and remorse, and he also was psychotic, was delusional. So it really painted that really well, but it's just so hard to treat those individuals. So we're working on that, but that's pretty much, start with medication and stay there. Okay, conversion disorder and illness anxiety disorders. Okay, so those are going to be therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy is the big one there, again. And then you're going to use your anti-anxiety, antidepressant medications. You can also use your tranquilizers. But as most of you have probably figured out, the bad problem with that is that those people don't like to take medication and will stop it, which is also what you find in a lot of the disorders. I know when I work with schizophrenic patients in rehab, man, we always had to check that they were taking their meds. Same thing with bipolar. A lot of times they'll stop. I mean, just without any disorder, really, they tend to stop their medication. But you can see that more with the somatoform, the somato body symptom disorders, because they're scared of the medication, which can happen. So, okay, anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa can pretty much be cured with therapy, and that is that behavioral therapy, the cognitive therapy, humanistic therapy as well. They'll basically be in a treatment center, and anytime you're in a treatment center, generally that's going to involve behavioral therapy. That's going to be conditioning them, operant or classical, but again, you can use antidepressants because they can become depressed, and anti-anxiety as well, as that can be a part and can spark their But generally, that's again, it's just therapy, getting them to make some different life decisions. Thank you, Delaney. Very helpful. And Aiden. Okay, ADHD and neurocognitive disorders. So ADHD, again, probably you know that there's Ritalin, there's Adderall. You know, there's several market there, and generally what they are is they're stimulants. So again, I know that it gets kind of confusing when you talk about the medication there, and it can be, and it really doesn't make sense as some of them. But again, you just gotta keep in mind that I want to stimulate certain parts of the brain, so it's not an overall stimulant. What it is, it's going to go in and stimulate the parts of the brain that allow them to then focus and relax and calm and help the brain work accordingly. Now, I can give them other medication that will sedate them as well. But generally, with ADHD, there are parts of the brain that need to be stimulated that just are not working and don't allow them to be still, focus, be calm, and things like that. Okay, so it's kind of like if you remember in neurocognitive as well. You know, sometimes with Alzheimer's, we think it's the brain that stops working, but actually the brain is working too hard. But the areas that can't do what they need to do are working harder. So you can kind of get those those images in brain scans as well. So it's not always as clean and easy as the thinking that, you know, well, this part of the brains are not working. Sometimes it's other parts of the brain are working too hard, you know, and sometimes it can be the opposite of what you think. So with ADHD, again, they're generally stimulants that you want to give them. That's why you have to really be careful, and it's sometimes very difficult because you want to make sure you're stimulating the right parts of the brain that allows them to do what they're not able to do. Now, with that treatment, you can also sedate them a little bit and things like that if you want. But really, you just want those parts of the brain that allow people to focus and pay attention to increase. Okay, and then neurocognitive, dementia, Parkinson's. You know, they all have their specific type of medication. You know, we learned in Parkinson's, it's dopamine, right? Dementia, you know, there's a whole host of medications trying to get those with acetylcholine, trying to get the learning and stuff to increase. You know, there's just a lot of different medications that are there. Now, with that, usually there's therapy along with that, and it's called humanistic therapy. And it's basically just trying to get them to understand how the disorder impacts their life. And sometimes family and group therapy as well, because the families need to be involved because ADHD is children a lot of the times or teenagers. So you need to involve family. And then neurocognitive disorders a lot of times in the elderly. So they need to involve families in their long-term care and so on and so forth. Okay. All right, did I nail all 17? Did we get them all? Which I would not have got them in the right order, I don't think, if Delaney and Aiden hadn't helped. But I think I would have eventually got them all. So again, I think the goal I want you to see there is, you know, we have three areas of tools, in our toolbox. We have therapy, which is the psychotherapy side, and then we have three biomedical sides. And the psychosurgery one, luckily, I guess you can put that down for neurocognitive disorders. That's pretty much where it predominantly comes into play. Parkinson's, it's a big one. You know, brain stimulation can also come into play with neurocognitive disorders. You know, we're not going to do any of those three. So, you know, psychosurgery, man, if you wrote it down anywhere, it'd probably be neurocognitive disorders and probably schizophrenia would be the one. But again, not so much anymore at all. So, which is a good thing. We have it if we need it, but we just don't use it very much, which is good. Okay. All right. So today's the last live stream for seniors. So I wanted to be in the room. I'm going to go one more pass here at the end to see if you can figure out what I turned upside down. Probably the first time you did not see it, inattentional blindness, right? Selective attention. But this time, hopefully you'll see it since I said it. And then, tomorrow is the due date. So again, remember, grades have to be finalized by noon. Also remember, since we're not going to see each other, seniors who took or actually all students who took the class for dual credit, you know, starting in June, you're going to need to then send a request for your transcript from Rockhurst University to transfer it to whatever college or university you're going to. Okay, so you now actually have a Rockhurst transcript, just like a Rockhurst student. And that official transcript needs to be sent to the registrar's office of whatever college you're attending, so the credits get transferred. Okay. AP test takers, we'll still be doing our review sessions, but generally that AP test score is going to be on your official transcript at high school, but also you'll have a College Board account that you can send to any school. So remember that you need to get the credit to the college or university that you're going to. It won't automatically show up. So, even my daughter, we told her to do that and she forgot about it. And we've been working through that with her last semester, but, just make sure you get that there. Okay. All right. Any questions? It is very quiet up here. It's very eerie. There's nobody on this side of the building, I don't think. We have to come up by alphabet. Okay, all right, one more pass. Here we go. I'll back up. Nice shot of my nose. There we go. Let's do this. Just for old time's sake. By the way, I do appreciate whoever put the German bear back up on my bulletin board back here. I think that's Chloe and Riley. But he's been disappearing and showing up on my bulletin board. It's not one of these team pictures over here, because those are kind of hard to see. And actually, the thing I flipped over might be kind of hard to see. Okay. All righty. Well, guys, it has been awesome. Here I am, last picture, with an empty room, which is not at all what I thought this year was going to end up like. Usually it would be third hour, I think. I think it'd be third hour. So it's been an enjoy. Enjoyed every minute of it. It's been a real enjoyment. Hopefully I'll see everybody on Saturday at the senior parade, if that goes through, if we're given permission for that. You guys are awesome. Keep track of that AP notebook, because you'll need it, especially, you're going to need it. Again, most everybody's going to take another psychology class or basic psych, or you'll get the opportunity to take other psychology classes. And that has been very, very helpful. So it's helped a lot of kids get A's or make the class real easy. So if you need anything from me, seniors, or anybody, just make sure you email me, contact me. Again, I'll be working on grades all the way through tomorrow. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll have them all in and finalized. And then juniors, touch base with me I'll send this out on Twitter, touch base with me on Wednesday. We'll have a live stream on Wednesday, and we'll go over our assignments for the rest of the semester, which will be a project that I will periodically touch base in with you, and then that you can do on your own. Okay. All right. So from Liberty North, everybody take care. If you need anything, let me know. Oh, I got a question. Allie Hinckley. You can turn in, how are you? You can turn in your AP notebook any way you want. I have been sent videos of people just flipping through their AP notebook. I've been sent pictures, slideshows, sharing the doc with me. I think any of that'll work. Allie, just get it to me, Miss Allie, and I hope your leg is doing well. Okay. All right. Take care, guys.